Okay. Well, this is my first recording with the new Ray-Ban Metaglass things. Alright. So, I'll show a little clip. Well, I guess I'll just show you. These welds failed, as you can see. So, instead of rewelding this diff, which is probably usable, we're going to do something different. We're going to go to this diff, which I hope you can see. It's a 350Z G35 diff. A little bit better gear ratio. The diff that was over here was a 3.3, we believe. Now we're going to go to a 3.5. Or it's either a 3.5 or 3.6. We're not completely sure. But in order to do this conversion, yes, my house is a mess. Need these conversion bushings. So a Skyline, or at least the R33 that I know, uses an S15 diff, or not diff, S14, 15 rear subframe, and they make conversion kits to do that. Which, if you looked at my old videos, I've already done that on my S14. So I might film somewhat step by step on how to do this. I really haven't decided yet, but yeah, let me get started on this. And I mean, you see I got the different axles out and everything. Oh, we're also using 350Z axles. So along with doing the 350Z diff, we're doing 350Z axles. I don't know if they're really a lot bigger than the other ones. But I do know people drag race with like 800 plus horsepower and they don't break, so it's worth a shot. About the same. I just know these like to fail compared to this cage style. These like to snap, like break the housings or whatever. So I guess one of your first steps is you need to drill these holes. Masworth does sell an adapter, which like this piece will be adapted to this sizing if I'm not mistaken. But I don't feel like waiting that long, so I'm just gonna drill it out. I already kind of somewhat center punched it, but yeah, let's go. I forgot some oil. Yeah, get a little bit of drilling oil. I don't have a whole lot of this stuff left, but I knew that was going to happen. Alright, now you do that 3 more times. Alright, next step. You have to punch these out. Which I already got one out. It was actually easy because I think this is some aftermarket crap. But I'm going to have to use a chisel and kind of just beating around it to try and shrink it a little bit. And then I can get a socket and just beat it out. Alright, that took a little longer than it should have. So I ended up getting a torch, heating up the bushing, burning it out. Then I got a drill bit, ran it around it. Then I got these dudes, kind of shoved them in there and just started beating it with a hammer, and it finally fell out. I need to get let's see. I need to get my wire wheel, clean the inside of it, let it cool down. But you can also get like a hole saw that's like the same diameter as this. On this outside, and you can usually just run it through. But this was a factory bushing, and the factory ones always kind of suck to do. Aftermarket one, man, they just literally can just hit it with a hammer and it comes out. But let me let that cool off and clean it up and get back to this install. Hopefully it's recording. I don't know. So I usually try to fill these diffs up, you know, before you put it back in the car, because it makes it a lot easier. I'm just using some stuff they had at the store that was a name brand. I don't like using like O'Reilly, you know, Duralast or something like that. I don't know. I'll stick with something I know works. And I know this works. Wish that dried more, but it'll be okay. I got the second jug. I'm not saying to go with this brand, but it's better than you know, whatever's at your parts store, name brand stuff. Everybody said this took 1.5. I feel like that's off by a little bit. I might have to go back and go get more. Sure it's actually level, and it is. Alright, so now it's dark. You go to your refrigerator and get this one. I already set the other one in because it actually fit in there really well. This side's been kind of fighting me. Oh, we're good now. So you see how they're kind of facing each other? That's how you want them. You'll see when we put it in the car. And also when you're doing this rear one, I've found, especially on my other car, it's best to set the diff in there, line these up kind of loose, these two front bolts, and kind of jack up the middle of it with a floor jack. And you'll line this up to where it needs to go, and you'll just slide the bushing into it. It's a lot easier than trying to push that bushing into the subframe and then twisting it and dumb stuff like that. But No, this seems to work pretty good. So just like I was kind of explaining up there, kind of leave these loose. Luckily this bushing still moves some, so it's easy to line these bolts up. But make sure you take your time lining these bolts up. They are bad about stripping in the subframe. Just run them in by hand. Yeah, because that nut that this bolt goes into, actually it's like a nut, like case nut, welded in the subframe. So if you cross thread that, you're either cutting your subframe apart to fix it, or you're switching out your subframe for another one. Either way, it sucks. So just take your time. Just make sure they're going in there good before you just hammer down on them. You know, do some goofy shit sometimes working on stuff by yourself. But both of those are pretty tight by hand, except for this one. I thought I had it tighter than that. Well, it is kind of nice using these glasses because I don't have to hold the camera and I can actually use both my hands. Alright, that one's in there. I'm going to move this light so y'all can see what's going on. Alright, see how that one's not centered? Because it's actually supposed to be like, there's your center, you go down, and then you go right a little bit. But let me go get this other bushing and show you. I can get this light to stay somewhere. So now, get this other bushing out of your freezer. Make sure I have enough hammers and pry bars. Usually you can hammer it in there, but sometimes you got to do a little prying. Alright, let's see what we got. Hopefully y'all can kind of see what's going on. Alright. I can't tell because I got sunglasses on pretty much. So you can go down just a smidge. There we go. Well, just a hair. Alright, somewhat started. Now, if you love your chassis, don't do it like this. But it does work. Luckily this car has been through a lot. And I believe we're cutting this trunk floor out eventually anyways. And if I'm not mistaken, the last bit you can actually get in with the nut and washer if I can find it. There's the washer, there's the nut. Alright. I mean, that's pretty much the end of this video. I mean, it probably will be. But as you can see, I've got the Z axles in. I can't tell with that one. Hang on. All right. Maybe you see a little better on this one. Alright, see how that's in there? It's got, I don't think the nut's all the way tight. I think I might need an axle spacer. Kind of the best way to tell is when you tighten this axle nut all the way down and you look at how much play that shaft has, which is nut's not all the way down. Actually, it's really not that bad. Maybe you can see that a little better. That might be okay. Pretty much you're supposed to measure it, but nobody really does that unless, you know, but that's nice and tight. You want to make sure this is bolted in, this nut is tightened down all the way, and then you grab the shaft and just see how much play it has. This is a little tighter than I'd like, but it's gonna be perfectly fine. But just like that, now you have a 350Z G35 diff in the back of your Skyline S14, S15, R33, and I think R34. I don't really know for sure. But later on, I'll get the brace that bolts on here and goes through there. But right now, I'm just trying to get the car back on the road, so I got other cars to work on also. But thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. If you aren't subscribed, hit that little subscribe button. It really does help a lot. I know it's very repetitive, but it just helps me, you know, get more content out there, more traffic to my page. And thank you once again for watching. I'll see you later. Adios. I did forget to mention something. Depending on your exhaust setup, you know, your exhaust runs through right here. Sometimes you're gonna have to put like a dent in the exhaust or get someone to make it, you know, aim a little bit differently. And it looks like I might do the same on this car. Yep, when the sway bar's in, you might not be able to see, when it's bolted in all the way, it hits this output or input flange on the diff. So on my 14, I think I made spacers and move the sway bar down just a little bit. There's probably other options to do it, but that's just what I've learned that works. You know, might be able to see that better now. I don't know, but you get the idea. And you know, of course, still have to put the drive shaft in, but I figured that was good enough for this video. Thank you for watching. See you later. Hey, Siri.